we sent out a few hundred invites, and we're really pleased to get over 100 positive responses, covering 3 meetings, of course. So we're really, really pleased with what has happened. In addition, those 100 people are from at least 14 countries, as I count the ends of their their websites and all of that. 14 countries, 14 out of 100 people. I would have preferred 40. Let's go for it. Let's see what happens. And in fact, I prefer 140. Let's see what we can do with that. But they're also from 5 continents. So if you know anybody from South America and Antarctica, please send them our way, because we want somebody from every continent to join us. And those were the 2 that didn't make it this time. I want 1 million people. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping we can get there, but I think if we've got 1 million people, we can make a difference. So that's really what I'm looking at. How do we make this go viral? We're going to be giving you different ideas and learning from you as well, how that might happen. So I want to say what I sent out to you was something that said, I'm concerned. And that's the truth. I'm concerned. And I've been concerned for a long time, but I've been getting more and more concerned over the last number of years. And that concern, it's about the earth, it's about democracy, it's about all the things I mentioned in the legislative proposal. It's about the truth, and it's about humanity, about how we treat each other and how connected we are or unconnected we are, how polarized we are. So that concern led me, as a number of you, and I'm looking at a number of you who called me in at various points to talk or connect, led me on a world tour five years ago. Unfortunately, it happened right on the edge of COVID, which shut us down. But I went on a world tour, and the reason was because I had this idea with all this concern. I had this feeling, this hunch, this intuition, that if I traveled the world and went from country to country, whether it was rich country or poor country, whether it was a democratic country or an autocratic country, that I would find the same thing, the same vision that people wanted. And in fact, when I cut through and eliminated kind of the polarizing stuff, and I said, yeah, but what do you really want? What's your vision? I got the same thing. It had kindness in it. It had democracy in it. It had vitality in it. It had good humor and culture in it. It had an end to corruption. And it had adequate food and shelter for everyone. It had an end to racism and bigotry. So it had, basic stuff that you would say, yeah, that's right. Those are good values. Everywhere, humanity shares those values. So I then wondered, part of this was thinking, there's got to be a simple solution. I mean, we all get involved in different ways in our communities, in the world. We read the news and we get concerned and upset about different things. And my thought is, we can find ourselves getting diminished by going out after a half a dozen things. And how can we possibly change any one of them? And my thought was, there has to be a simple solution if we all really want the same thing. How can I tap into that? And then the thought that came to me was this recognition. I came, as many of you know, I kind of minored in economics in college, and so I started thinking economically. I started thinking, how did all this begin? This world that we have that's so incredible, and yet now seems to be falling apart in some way. And I thought, 250 years ago, this all began, and this huge movement in innovation, in building longer lives for all of us, and bringing greater leisure, certainly to those of us that are lucky enough to live in a more developed world, but brought incredible improvements. Look at us speaking from all over the world together on this Zoom call. So all these amazing things happened starting 250 years ago. And then I thought, if we had such a great system that's delivering all these things over a period of 250 years. How come, given that huge period of time, how come that system didn't deliver the very best of humanity at the top of every hierarchy of power, of every institution in our life? How come we don't see our wisdom and our compassion at the top of every institution and filtering all the way down? What happened that made that failure so that we can develop all these technological things, all these great innovations, but the best part of our humanity has not been brought to the foreground? So what's happening there? And I realized that as I was thinking about this, I thought, if that in fact is true systemically across all of our societies, there must be something at the very base of the arrival of a new corporation, a new nonprofit, a new government, whatever, that isn't working. A lot of it is working, but there has to be something that's not working. And what I thought was pretty logically, given what everybody told me when I traveled the world, is that there's a failure to actually act in a humane way, to act with that wisdom and compassion in these large institutions. And I thought, well, that's strange. What if we set at the base, at the beginning, when a new, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit, or as I say, a government, when a new institution comes along, a new corporation comes along, why don't we make a requirement for them to place humanity first, to place the earth first, to place truth first, and democracy first, ahead of their own self-interest? So, obviously, you're a CEO there, you're going to have to act with more wisdom. It's, obviously when you're placing all of humanity, you're also working with the people that you work with and all of that. So there's a balancing, but it means more wisdom coming into the leadership, and it means humanity coming through our institutions. So the next thing that I thought was, as I began to craft this statement that you've all read about a fiduciary in all things, I wrestled with what the term was, what the legal statement might be, and it was a challenging thing, because fiduciary, many of us know what it means. There's a lot of people here who've had business in the financial industry, but not all of us. Many of us know what it means, but an awful lot of people in our communities don't know what it means, in the world don't know what it means, and in many countries don't know what it means. But I came to it because I thought, what? I know what it means. You know what it means. It comes from a word in Latin meaning trustworthy. It means trustworthy and caring. It means trustworthy service is its legal kind of meaning. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. If people don't know what it means, in some way it's better than having a term that everybody knows what it means. Because if you put integrity out there, well, you see integrity all over the place. So nobody's going to scratch their head and say, what's this about? If you said, trustworthy, everybody knows it. So I thought, let's do fiduciary, and then let's do a bit of an education campaign. Simple, really simple, using tweets and or posts. And I'll show you it in a moment. That brings people from what they do understand, which is trust and trustworthy and truth, and brings them from those things down to recognizing that that's what fiduciary is about. My next thought about what this was, well, how do we populate it? So populating it meant, we've got, we're also familiar with social media. What an incredible thing if we can make it take off in social media. Well, you have something. Now you can make many people, you can bring many people to it. So what I began to do with my staff and with friends, with my family, was to craft different things that people might be able to say, yes, I get that, I believe it, I can post it. So what I'm seeking is lots of reposts of very simple statements And then the other thing that we did, and I think you've seen it also in what I sent out to you, is created 3 emblems. One of them, I think, is a logo. One of them, I think, as a legislative proposal. That's what we're offering to people. And the third one is kind of in between. So let me share first the educational statements that we will carry people through. You can see them as tweets, or you can see them as a thread. You can see them as a single post. And Lydia, let's go through them one at a time if we can. Thank you. So here's the first one. It's just, it's kind of controversial, but we all go, yeah, that makes sense. We need a standard for humanity. Let's go to the second one. And we repeat these things because, we're just trying to get the message out. Humanity needs a standard. Let's go to the next one. We need a standard for humanity that is trustworthy in all things. Very simple. Next one. Trustworthy and caring in all things, the standard for humanity. Let's go to the next one. Every institution we create must be trustworthy in all things, no exceptions. Isn't that what we want? Let's go to the next one. Fiduciary means trustworthy. Now we've landed. Now we can start talking about the movement as being a fiduciary movement. Let's go to the next one. Fiduciary is the legal term for trustworthy service to others, placing their interest always above one's own. That's what we want. Let's go to the next one. A one-sentence legislative proposal can change the world, could change the world. One sentence could change the world. Here it is, and you've seen it I love it in the frame. Let's go to the next one. And this is what the one-sentence legislative proposal is. And that is a fiduciary standard of obligation is required for all institutions, corporate, nonprofit, governmental, to place the interests of all stakeholders of truth, of humanity, of democracy, and the living planet that sustains us first, above their own self-interest. Let's go to the next one. Trustworthy institutions as fiduciaries to us all tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in all communications. Wouldn't that be amazing? Incredible. Let's go to the next one. Trustworthy institutions as fiduciaries to us all put the health of the earth above their own self-interest. And is there one more, Lydia? Let's make fiduciary and trustworthiness of our institutions the law of the land. Let's make it the law of the land. And now show the whole thread, Lydia. So, because we've posted this whole thread, I think, on our Facebook account, and I'm going to encourage you to go to these places and repost. That's one way to make this thing go viral. And let's go then to, all these statements, I'm going to repeat them again and again because people need to hear them again. You're going to have new people come in to new posts. So every few weeks, we're going to repeat these individually so that people can see them. Lydia, let's go to the first emblem. And the first one is the one that you're all aware of. And it's the one-sentence legislative proposal that I just read. A fiduciary standard of obligation is required. So, and the bottom of this says, I support making fiduciary in all things the law of the land. So let's put this on our websites. Let's put this in our social media. Let's get it out there so that everybody sees it. Lydia, let's go to the second one. This one's an interesting one. And I'm going to show you here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's an organic sign here. That's on, you go to Whole Foods and you'll find it all over the place. Organic. I thought we need a visual that people can take everywhere and begins to get popular and populated, and people begin to scratch their head and go, what is that? What's fiduciary? And they go to the website and they look and they find out. I think you'll enjoy our website. So this I think of as the logo. The other one I think of as the legislative proposal. And Lydia, let's go to the next And this one is more halfway in between because it says fiduciary in all things. And it's still got the earth. It's green, yay, green. And inside the FIAT, which is kind of the symbol, fiat, fiduciary in all things, there's a bunch of people in those images if you get real close to it. So let's come back to the group as a whole. And I think what I want to do, I just want to talk a couple more things about action steps and how do we make this go viral, give you some of my thoughts. And then and then we'll do breakout, see what you think as you gather together and talk. So I want to accomplish this in a hurry. I think that if we have 100 people to begin and everybody puts some effort in, I think we've got a good shot at it. In fact, I think if you put 4 to 5 minutes a month in, and of just reposting and reposting and reposting, and maybe a half hour in the first week or two to actually put these symbols on your social media headers or on your website, I think people are going to start going, what's that? And look at it and make it happen. I know some people here have already put it in their signature, which is just great. Yay. So I'm curious, what are the actions that you think you could take and we could take, but you know, we have these meetings and everybody piles on all the things that we can do. I've got a very small staff. I'd love to know how you feel you could propel this movement yourselves with help. You could help us propel this forward. And what are your contacts with? I mean, obviously the press would be great. Publicity would be great. Media would be great. How can we get this out? How do we market this? And then another area that we're going to be looking at in the breakouts, the third breakout, is going to be about speaking engagements. Where can we speak? And not, imagining, I mean, I'd love to speak in the Houses of Parliament. I'd love to speak in Congress, but you know what? Let's take wherever we can speak, 10 or 12 people, 50 people, 100 people. What community can you gather together? And that where I can speak or several of us can speak and make this go viral. I'm gonna close. I'm gonna give you just my final thoughts on this. I want you to imagine something. When I said I want to get 1 million people, I mean, imagine. I mean, this is a dream that the species has, that us human beings have, this dream of kindness, of support, of trustworthy community and institution, and of vitality. It's the same dream all over the world. Imagine if 8 billion people felt empowered, supported, and inspired, not diminished, by the systems that surround them. What an amazing planet this would be. One single sentence legislative proposal can start this process, this vision, and make it widespread, clear, simple, but repeat it again and again. If it's spread broadly and widely, if it's inspiring to everyone all over the world, if it's visible every day and everywhere, if it is the vision of the species, how can it fail? We need all hands on deck. Please join us. Post daily if you can. Let's make this happen. Thank you so much for coming.